In the world of games of chance, the lottery stands alone. The allure is universal. For the price of a modest ticket, one could win millions, instantly changing a life forever. It's a simple promise. Numbers are drawn at random, watched by millions, scrutinized for fairness. The game, after all, is supposed to be unriggable. I have done videos on horse races being fixed. Now it's time for a video on the lotto being fixed. So strap in and get ready for a wild ride. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. For years, no one suspected that one man, a trusted insider, had found a way to game the very system built on randomness and security. That man was Eddie Tipton, a computer programmer at the Multi-State Lottery Association, MUSL, who would go on to orchestrate one of the most audacious frauds in American lottery history. This is the story of how Eddie Tipton rigged the lottery, how greed unraveled an elaborate scheme, and how investigators ultimately caught a man who believed he could outsmart Lady Luck herself. Born in 1963, Eddie Raymond Tipton grew up in Texas. Friends and family described him as an introverted but intelligent young man with a passion for computers. He earned degrees in computer science and criminal justice and began working in IT security. In 2003, Tipton secured a position at MUSL, an organization responsible for administering lottery games like Powerball across dozens of U.S. states. Based in Urbandale, Iowa, MUSL managed the core technology behind multi-state draws, including the computers that generated winning numbers. Tipton rose through the ranks, eventually becoming Information Security Director, a role that gave him privileged access to lottery draw software and systems. To his colleagues, Tipton seemed diligent, trusted, and an authority on IT security. But beneath this facade, a dangerous temptation brewed. The very nature of the lottery, randomness, posed a tantalizing challenge to someone like Tipton. He knew the systems inside and out. The draw numbers weren't plucked from air by bouncing balls. They were often generated by random number generators, RNGs, secure computers running sophisticated algorithms. In Tipton's mind, an idea began to form. What if the randomness wasn't truly random? What if he could control it? The opportunity presented itself in 2005 when MUSL upgraded its RNG machines. Tipton, involved in testing and securing these machines, gained unique access to the software. He realized that by subtly altering the code, he could manipulate draws without raising alarms. The weapon of choice? A self-deleting rootkit. Malicious. Software that inserted itself into the RNG code to control outcomes, then erased itself to avoid detection. It was a near-perfect crime, but to execute it, Tipton needed accomplices to purchase winning tickets. His own employment prohibited him from buying lottery tickets, and his appearance on any winning claim would spark immediate scrutiny. So he turned to people he trusted most, family and friends. Tipton's first major test of the scheme came in 2005 with a Colorado lottery game. Through an associate named Robert Rhodes, Tipton passed information about future winning numbers. Rhodes purchased a winning ticket worth about $560,000. The win went undetected. No red flags were raised. Encouraged by this success, Tipton expanded his operation. Over the next several years, through a small network including his brother Tommy Tipton, a justice of the peace in Texas, and Rhodes, he rigged multiple draws across several states: Colorado, 2005, Wisconsin, 2007 and 2008, Kansas, 2010. In each case, Tipton's altered RNG would predetermine the winning numbers, which he shared with accomplices who then purchased tickets in distant locations. They waited a safe interval before claiming prizes, using out-of-state addresses, limited liability companies, or proxies to mask their identities. Tipton remained confident. He'd built the perfect crime, a scheme that exploited trust, technology, and human nature. But then came the draw that would unravel it all. On December 23, 2010, a hot lotto drawing in Iowa produced a jackpot of $16.5 million. Unknown to the public, this draw had been manipulated by Tipton's rootkit. Soon after, a ticket matching the winning numbers was purchased at a Quick Trip convenience store in Des Moines. Tipton now faced the critical phase of his scheme, laundering the win. Through Rhodes, he enlisted a Canadian associate, Philip Johnston, who operated a trust and offered to claim the prize on behalf of a mysterious Belize-based company called Hexam Investments Trust. Johnston contacted the Iowa Lottery through an attorney seeking to claim the prize while remaining anonymous. But Iowa law required public identification of winners for transparency. Lottery officials, smelling something fishy, demanded more information. A standoff ensued. As months passed with no clear winner emerging, the Iowa Lottery released surveillance, footage of the ticket purchase. The video showed a man in a black hoodie buying the winning ticket. When Musil employees saw the footage, alarm bells rang. Some recognized the man as Tipton. A whistleblower tipped off investigators, triggering a sprawling inquiry. Tipton denied involvement, claiming he couldn't recall being at that store. But forensic analysis showed that the RNG used for the December 23rd draw had been modified during a period when only Tipton had physical access to the machine. Investigators dug deeper. They discovered that Tipton had made unauthorized changes to the RNG software around November 2005, inserting code that altered draws on specific dates when the machine's clock matched preset parameters. Moreover, the self-deleting rootkit had left subtle traces in system logs, clues that investigators painstakingly reconstructed. As the case widened, authorities linked the Iowa attempt to suspicious wins in Colorado, Wisconsin, and Kansas, all tied through associates of Tipton. The web of fraud was becoming clear. In January 2015, Tipton was arrested and charged with fraud, money laundering, and computer crime. His trial began later that year. The prosecution built a damning case. Video evidence placed Tipton at the point of purchase. Software forensics proved unauthorized code had been inserted. Financial records linked Tipton's associates to suspect. Lottery wins. Tipton's defense argued that there was no direct proof he manipulated the RNG and that someone else might have altered the software. But the weight of circumstantial and forensic evidence proved overwhelming. In July 2015, Tipton was convicted of fraud in Iowa. Subsequent investigations led to more charges in other states. Facing mounting evidence and multiple indictments, Tipton eventually agreed to a plea deal in 2017. He confessed to rigging multiple lottery draws and was sentenced to 25 years in prison with eligibility for parole. Tipton's scheme defrauded lotteries of an estimated $24 million across multiple states. Investigators believe the fraud could have involved more draws than confirmed, but was difficult to fully trace due to the rootkit's self-deleting nature. His confession revealed how a small number of compromised machines were used for critical draws and how a tiny code modification had undermined millions of players' trust in the system. The scandal rocked the lottery world. USL overhauled its security protocols, replacing RNG machines and implementing stricter oversight. Iowa's then Attorney General called it one of the most significant cases of computer crime and public corruption in American history. Tipton's brother Tommy pleaded guilty to conspiracy and served prison time. Robert Rhodes also pleaded guilty and cooperated with authorities. The lottery industry faced tough questions about transparency, the use of RNGs versus mechanical ball draws, and insider threats. For players, the scandal shattered illusions. If a trusted insider could rig the lottery, could the game ever truly be fair? Eddie Tipton's saga offers a chilling lesson about technology and trust. In an age where code increasingly governs our lives, even systems designed for fairness and randomness are vulnerable to insider manipulation. Tipton's fatal flaw was greed and arrogance. He believed his knowledge of the system made him untouchable. In the end, It was a simple hoodie on a convenience store camera and the diligence of investigators that brought his house of cards crashing down. Today, lotteries remain a popular form of entertainment and hope. But behind the cheerful slogans and giant checks, the shadow of the Tipton case lingers, a reminder that even in games of pure chance, human nature remains the greatest variable of all.